What's going on, guys? Welcome to Rhino Review Stuff. I'm Rhino and I review stuff. The stuff I've got to review today was sent to me directly from a company for the purposes of the making of this video. They did not tell me what to say, they did not tell me what to do, they didn't really tell me anything about the product at all, but I know what it is, and I'm pretty darn excited. Let's check it out. What we've got in this little box is the IPEVO Totem-120. Not only does it have a 120-degree panoramic view, but it also serves as a document camera, and that, as you know, is right up my alley. So let's check this thing out. First thing out of the box, we've got the little instruction pamphlet. Looks like you just connect it with a USB-C cable. Here is the actual unit. I'm going to zoom in real quick. And boom, there we go. We've got the voice AI button. This right here will cancel out all the different noises that are in the background and make your voice sound a little bit crisper and cleaner right here within the device. Right here we've got our AI sort of mode button. It's going to check if you're doing a portrait, if you are doing conference room style. It's going to kind of set the camera for whatever the mood happens to be. Right here, 180 degree button. It will switch the screen 180 degrees. And we've got our camera switch button because this thing does have two cameras. It's got a wide angle and an ultra wide angle. Right here we've got a little speaker thing going on. And we got a couple of little microphones. Other than that, this thing is just absolutely dainty. How small. So you can see the USB is permanently attached here to the bottom of the camera. It is on these two metal rods, and that's because right here you are in default conference mode. You can actually raise this all the way up, and it stays in conference mode. So this is just what you would use if you were using this as a webcam without needing to have any sort of tripod. You can tilt it a little bit forward. Just like that, you are in sharing mode. And this is when you want to share some documents and you still want to have the camera option available. And of course, laying it flat, like so, that's document camera mode. So this turns this into a super fancy, high quality document camera. And it's stinking awesome. Today's video is brought to you by InventiveClassroom.com and CanadianClassroom.com. Founded in 1999, this Canadian company provides a multitude of different tech products to teachers in classrooms across Canada and the US. All products are evaluated by a team of experts and reviewed by teachers like myself, parents, and specialists in STEM education to make sure they deliver high-quality products that meet their clients' expectations. Products include educational toys, robotics and coding sets, classroom furniture, and even 3D printers and accessories, and I kind of want to get my hands on some of that. Their customer service is available in English and French, and you actually speak to a live human being to help you with your questions and your purchases. I'm honestly pretty impressed, and I'm proud to be sponsored by Mercanet for this video. Now, back to the program. So here we've got some unedited, right out of the box footage. All I've done is plug this thing in and start recording. This is the default out of the box in a fairly well lit room. And you can see there's a little bit of jagginess going on. That's pretty disappointing. I'm going to fiddle with some settings here in a minute, but first, let's check out these microphones. And these are the default out-of-the-box microphones with no changes being made whatsoever. Now, there's a couple of things I can do right here in the camera to switch things up. So right now I've got it set with noise canceling off. This is the default audio right out of the box without turning any of the AI features on this camera. I'm going to push some AI buttons now. I'm going to start with the AI voice. And you could probably see there at the bottom of the screen. I'm not sure if you actually could, but I could. Now the AI noise cancellation is turned on. So this is what it sounds like when you have noise canceling going on through the AI, through the stick. Now let's change something else. Let's go to the AI portrait mode thing. So it's going to find out where I am, and it's going to adjust the picture to whatever the situation might be. So if that means it's going to follow me a little bit, I noticed it did zoom a little bit while I was kind of leaning in there. That seemed to work pretty well. If I go back a little bit, you can see it adjusted as well. That's a pretty cool feature, but I don't think I want to use it for the whole video here. So I'm going to change that back right now. Yeah, I've turned that right off. Let's click on the different camera. Right now, I believe we're on the 120. And now we're on the 80-degree lens, and you can see it kind of cropped me off. So there is a big difference between the 120-degree lens and the 80-degree lens. I'm going to go back to 120 so you get more of me. Now, let me go back into the software, and I'm going to change some settings here in OBS and see if we can get a better picture. Then we're going to check out the document camera. So I've done a little bit of creativity here. In OBS, you are not actually able to change the exposure settings, and that was the big issue. Obviously, I think you could probably tell that was the big issue. In order to change the exposure settings, you actually have to go into their iView software. So the same software that some of their other cameras uses, the conferencing cameras at least, you have to go into that, and then you can actually adjust the exposure, and you can set it manually. You can also adjust the white balance and all of those other settings as well, and then you can get a much better picture. Because yeah, before it looked really terrible, this actually looks acceptable. So definitely, if you get one of these cameras, you're going to want to get the IPEVO software also, so you can, do the streaming and all of that and make it look good too. So let's check it out as a document camera, shall we? So this is about what it looks like as a document camera. Now, luckily, they do have those buttons here on the device so you can get things set up and actually look the way they should. This is how a document camera is supposed to look. Go ahead and do some practice writing here, and I do like that this is fairly smooth. After we got those exposure settings fixed, this actually is a very good-looking camera. Yeah, I mean, it works. It's a great-looking document camera. In the actual IPEVO visualizer software, this is going to be so much better. So let's check that out next. Now, here we are in the actual IPEVO software. This is called Visualizer. You can download it directly from their website. You can select your cameras here, and yes, you can select every camera that is connected to your computer. That's pretty neat. That means this software here can actually be used with pretty much any camera. I like it a lot. You don't get all these features, though, so you can change through all the different resolutions that are supported by the camera. This one can do 4K. It does kind of change the screen, and look at how slow it is. Oh yeah, back to 1080p, full screen. And boom, there we go. I'm going to keep it right there for now. You can change the exposure here. You can lock it to right there. Right there, it is a little bit white. I'm going to go ahead and bring it right back down to, how about -2? Well, that's pretty good for me. I'm going to go ahead and lock it in place. White balance, you can also adjust that to whatever the white happens to be in your room. So if you know what number your lights are on, you can automatically adjust that. Video filters, you can actually turn on the black and white. You can invert it, all of those neat things. Let's do yellow on blue. Wow, that is crazy. That's really wild. I like that. Invert the color. This is very cool too. Oh man. Man, I like that. Such a cool feature. Let's go back to normal just so we can continue moving on. We can do grid lines here. Let's do 3x3. So you can kind of actually use this to help yourself with art. I like that. 16x16. Wow, you've automatically got some grid paper to use. Freezing the live image. Yep, it's frozen. I'm going to go ahead and resume that real quick. Aha, back to full screen. And I'm going to take these grid lines off. Down here, you've got the basic features, flip, rotate. You can change the keystoning and all of that stuff. Let's go ahead and do that now because it is a little bit wonky. And I'm going to go ahead and flip my image back to where it should be. There we go. Okay, keystoning. Maybe make the bottom a little bit bigger, or maybe the side. Oh yeah, there we go. That looks pretty much square to me. Very nice. You can do all of that stuff in this software, and you can stream directly from this software as well. Snapshots, recording, live broadcasts, slow motion, time-lapse, and stop motion. It all works pretty well. So what are my final thoughts here on the Totem-120 from IPEVO? Well, it's kind of a mixed bag if you don't know what you're doing. If you go into this and you just plug it in and expect it to be perfect, you are going to be a little bit disappointed. I know I was. But I also knew that they have software that goes with their cameras. If this came on a memory key that was with the pack, then you would have known that to begin with, and you would have been golden, Pony Boy. So yeah, be sure you install that software so you can get the best possible image out of your IPEVO cameras. The conferencing software that they have, it worked great. It had all of the settings available to it. You could change the exposure, you could change the white balance, and it saves it in the camera. So it's not using software to save it. That's a good thing. I love the visualizer software with the document camera settings. That works great. I always recommend the visualizer software. I use it with a lot of my document cameras that I get in because a lot of them don't ship with any software, and the companies that make the cameras don't actually provide any software. So IPEVO has us covered there, and I love that about this company. I love the microphones on the Totem-120 here. They sounded very natural. They sounded very good. If you were in a conferencing situation, nobody's going to know that you're using the little microphones built into your camera. They're going to think that you have a decent microphone. If you're recording video lessons when you're in document camera setting, you are going to be doing just fine, and people will be able to hear you when you're talking just to the IPEVO Totem-120. It's not a big deal. I couldn't tell too big of a difference when I turned on the noise canceling, but that's also not too big of a deal. I could see it here on my visualizer, so when I clicked it on, the little green part went right down there to the bottom, and it just kind of jerked a little bit. So it did cut off some of the room noise. However, my room here is awfully quiet, so you guys didn't probably notice much of a difference. I didn't notice much of a difference, but it was cutting out some of that background noise. Pretty good job. So who do I recommend this for? I recommend this for someone who has been using document cameras for a while, who has different needs than just a document camera. If you want to do some video conferencing and you want to be able to use it as a document camera, this would be more your style. I wouldn't think this is for a beginner. This is more of an intermediate document camera. So if you're kind of a power user, this one might be the one for you to check out. The IPEVO Totem-120, it didn't blow me away at first, but after I got into those settings, I was very impressed. So I'm going to leave this video on that. You gotta know what you're doing before you get started. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and all that jazz. I will leave links down there in the description, and there is a promo code to get a cheap deal.